I guess there's no going back now. If you haven't guessed it yet, I've reached the stage of the build where I'm going to be opening up the second story to the first story internally. Oh yeah. And I've definitely had a couple of hiccups to get to here. I'm in quite the pickle, friends. I was going to start filming for you today, but I've run into a little mishap, and that is with my building plans again. They were done by someone who doesn't specialise in container houses or anything like that. So quite a few of the measurements were off because they didn't take into consideration stuff like the corner castings. And now I've just had a look and I can tell they're not right. Like where it's showing for the staircase to be, not only, but it's not showing at all a cutout or at all where that should be marked or measured or anything. But I can see where the staircase is placed on the plans. It's not possible to be there because then it would lead up into this door here. And, you know, you'd exit out of here onto nothing. That means I'm gonna have to go on a trip, a last minute trip to go pick up my staircase. I am back and I am so exhausted. So this is the bottom. So I'm equal parts nervous and excited. I'm using this circular saw to cut through the timber container floor of my second story. This is set at 28 mils because that's how thick the timber floor is meant to be. So fingers crossed that information is correct. And please note the respirator. This floor is not something you want to be breathing in. So breathing protection is definitely a must. She is all cut, but I think it's going to be a little bit trickier than I thought. In my head, I would cut it and then I would just pull it up. However, there are all these screws everywhere. I have tried to screw them out and like it goes in. But they will not screw out. Some spin, some don't do anything. But they ain't coming out. So that's a problem. I have to cut this into like a lot of pieces, which won't be fun. Got it! It's gonna take a lot longer than I thought. I thought I'd just be cutting a square and nicely lifting it out. This has been a way bigger job than anticipated. I mean, nothing new there. It would have been a lot easier if the screws were still good, but I'm guessing because it's so old, yeah, I've tried to get them out and it's just not possible. So I ended up cutting out all the sections like this and then cutting out bits on the side there too, so that I can also cut the steel frame, which is the part that I'm really worried about. But Because that was such a big job, it literally took the whole day. So my goal is now I'm gonna get the jigsaw in and kind of clean up the edges a little bit. I'll still probably have to do a tiny bit more when I get those steel posts out. But then I can start cutting into it as well. I've done the first little cleanup of the edges here. What I'm gonna try to do, because I am gonna cut the roof out from the top here as well. So what I'll do is see if I can mark that all out, and then I'll be able to cut my steel angle and get that all ready and welded into a frame to put into the roof of the bottom story container and frame that one out with steel angle. And then I'm somehow gonna frame out this steel with steel flat bar. Still don't know how, but still. I am done with my cutting steel. However, it is quite dark. I'm not a nocturnal welder, so I will leave the welding of the frame for the morning. But I do have my nice big square here that will be going into the roof up there for this beautiful staircase here. And you probably can't see anything, but I will see you in the morning. Wait, I need to say goodbye. I will see you in the morning to weld that frame together and then cut out the container frame. Today's the day that I get into my second story from my first. Are you excited? Because I'm like so excited, really, really excited. A little bit nervous, but I'm getting more excited now, like that the floor's out of the way. First up, oh, yes! That sun feels so good. So good. No! Oh, that was so short-lived. Okay, so first up, I need to finish that frame that I was cutting yesterday. So I need to smooth that all off, weld that all together to create my nice frame that will be inserted into the first level and pushed up and welded into place. And then I need to move on to cutting the big steel frame of the container underneath so that I can actually get to the roof of the first story. Let's get to work. But first, I have lost a shoe. I took my shoes and my clothes to the laundromat to wash them, and I can't find my other shoe, so I'm really hoping it's here somewhere and not at the laundromat. So let's sort this and let's get to work. Oh my, it's windy today. Very, very windy. Now that I have my steel angle frame for this blue container roof all welded up and ready to go, and it is downstairs because I'm gonna be putting it up from that way. And I bet you're wondering how I'm gonna do that. I have an idea, so you shall see. But here's where it gets a little bit trickier, because now I gotta cut out the container floor frame. But I'm not as daunted now that I can actually see it. The problem here is I can't actually get right to the edge of the steel frames to cut it. So that means I'm gonna have to cut as close to as possible and then try get in there with the angle grinder after to get the last bits. Oh my God. I'm through. That was not easy. The reciprocating saw does not like this. So I started it off with the angle grinder and then I was able to go through. But look at my saw. And I've only got 2 more metal ones. Oh boy. Gosh, Lord. Far out, Brussels sprout! My floor's coming out! This is absolutely terrifying and absolutely an adrenaline rush and exciting at the same time. This went way faster when I figured out the method, which was start with the angle grinder and make the cut, and then go in with the reciprocating saw. I also found a reciprocating blade that is actually for thick metal, so that did the job way better than those thin metal ones. The sun has come out, so let's pop the Building.a 200 V2 on charge out in the sun so that I don't lose power when I'm cutting into my second story. Who remembers the Building.a 200 V2? Building.a sent me this 2000 watt power station to help power my entire build, and it hasn't let me down. From building my shed, restoring my windows, and cutting out all of my container walls, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the Building.a 200 V2, keeping my tools powered along the way with no interruptions. The Building.a Premium 200 V2 has a power output of 2700 watt and a lifting power of 4050 watt, all while being ultra quiet at only 16 dB. With over 6,000 life cycles, which is 12 times industry standard, and it also has multiple fast charging options to help me keep all my tools powered for my container home build. My favourite part is that it's a 2000 watt power station compacted into the size of a 1000 watt power station, which makes it easy for me to move around the build and plug into my solar setup to charge. Today, the Building.a 200 V2 has been keeping me powered as I connect my first story to my second story for the first time internally. And I'm so grateful for it being able to store so much power, because it powers my jigsaw, my circular saw, my angle grinder as I tear through the floor and roof of my containers. And then it's going to power my welder to get my containers connected and nicely secured together. Building.a are having massive Black Friday sales at the moment, so if you want to grab your own unit, there's a link below in my description. I'm too excited. One more little thing to cut like this and it is completely out. And then I just have to work out if it's too heavy for me to lift out or if I need to cut it into smaller pieces, but I really hope not. Oh my goodness. It's out. Holy far out Brussels sprout. It's heavy. Oh, it's really heavy. I didn't expect it to be so heavy. Okay, that means we're gonna have to cut it again. Oh, it feels lighter. Okay. Whoa. Let's see if I can actually lift this out now, because this is heavy as. Let's move all this. Alrighty, let's try lift it out and see what happens. Oh me, oh my, what have I done? I got you stuck. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, this is the lighter one, but surely I can do this one too. Okay. Gosh, these are some solid beams. Woo! One gone. Let's get this one gone. A third 1/3 of the way there. Other 2/3 to go now. Ooh. This one has one more beam, so it's gonna be heavier. There we go. There she comes. Okay. 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 Oh, this one's heavy. Very, very heavy. I need to make more room for it, I think. Will you stay there, please? There we go. Pivot. Whoa. Oh, wow. Look at this. Here's my hole for my stairs. Almost. All I need to do is go along now and like cut off these parts. And I should be able to get some a bit easier now that most of the metal and middle bit's gone with the angle grinder, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then I need to try and get to this bit to cut it all out as well, which is going to be hard. Wow! I'm very excited, and also, look, it's not as far away as I thought either. So this is the top of the roof, obviously, this one. And the frame is going to stick out, the steel angle frame, so that'll stick out to whatever. But then I'm going to also have flat bar, so there'll be flat bar connecting on the steel angle frame, and then on this to enclose this entire section. Alright team, we're completely through and I've almost cut off all the edge bits as well. However, I am using my battery grinder for that to get closer, because I can get closer with that one to the edge, and my batteries need to be charged. I am ready to cut into this floor, or roof actually. I'm ready to cut into the roof of the first story container. Yesterday I did already mark up all my lines, so that's perfect, that's brilliant. It means I can just go straight into it. I won't be able to cut this one here because I still need to get rid of that, but I will be able to cut all three of those. I think it is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to have to go like kind of in on an angle, but this metal isn't extremely thick, so I'm hoping it isn't that tricky. I am going to go downstairs now though and just check that everything's out of the way, because I do believe the stairs are underneath here and I don't want to get sparks all over them. Then let's cut into it. I don't actually know if I'm mentally prepared for how excited I'm going to get when I get through here. I can't actually start on any of the interior work until I'm done with all the grinding and welding, and this brings me a giant step closer to that, which is very exciting. Now, these are 4 tiny cuts, and I've cut down a lot bigger, and I know this won't take too long. So we're going to be through in a minute. Oh my God. Can you see that? That is my first story. I'm so bloody excited right now. Alright, so I've done this one, and now I'm starting on the 3rd side. But I need to get these ones out before I can cut this out. Alright, time to cut off these bits. I just can't step on here now. Oh my freaking God. I am losing my mind right now. This is insane! This is so much bigger than the hole I thought I needed to cut. Wow. Amazing! Holy wow! This is my staircase. I'm just freaking out. This is so cool. Wow. Ah. Now I need to get the bloody steel frame up, and it is very heavy, very big. And so I bet you're like, how are you gonna do that, Jasmine? Well, just you wait. Are we ready? Of course, straps. So my plan is basically to pull it up and hopefully I'm using the hooks on the container, and then I also welded hooks to the inside of my steel angle frame. So I'm hoping that means I can, lift it up little bit by little bit, and then tie it up in place, get it all clamped in, and then weld it just like my window cutouts, I reckon. But it's looking quite dark, isn't it? I don't think I should be doing it now. I'm also very conscious of when it gets to the end of the day, I start to lose my balance or something like that, just become a lot more clumsy. So I don't really want to be clumsy around this giant hole. I can come back in the morning and put in my steel angle frame, but also my flat bar frame that I still need to make. Ah! I'm so over the moon though. This is insane. I can't actually wrap my head around it. That's my other containers, and this is my bedroom and bathroom, and this is gonna be my stairwell, and that's gonna be my spare bedroom. It's just insane. I love it so much. I love it so much. All right, good night guys. I'm going to bed. Good morning team. I think it's time to get this hole framed. I also have no idea if my little strap system's gonna work, so let's test that out. But I mean, straps haven't failed me yet, have they? Once they failed me. I am coming down to you, very humbled. Okay, they failed me twice. Twice they failed me. But it wasn't really even the straps. It's just really my own delusional belief in how strong I am, I guess. I'm not sure. In my head, I know how heavy this is because I made it and I've had to move it around, and it's really heavy. I can't get it off the ground. I've got to drag it. But somehow I thought by attaching straps, I would be able to lift it all the way up there. This is like when I thought I could attach a pulley to the roof sheet and pull them up by hand. 8.5 metre roof sheets. Delusional. And this isn't a situation where I can attach the car because, So I think I'm gonna have to go make my life easier. I think I'm gonna have to do a bit of investing here. Psych! I was gonna go buy 2 hand winches, and I still will, but it started heavily raining, and I'm not a fan of driving long distances while it's storming. So I'm gonna let my stubborn side in the driver's seat and see what she can get done. I was actually gonna go buy some hand winches, but then the rain really started coming down. So I don't really wanna drive today and go that long distance to go pick up those hand winches. So instead I'm trying to be stubborn. And because I just tried lifting it from the ground and it seemed easier, I'm gonna attach these ropes because then I can actually pull the entire way from the ground. And I'm hoping if I keep pulling from the ground, then I can get it up without having to drive hours and hours. Next time I do drive to the shop, I am gonna get hand winches because there is a lot of jobs coming up where I know they're gonna come in handy. Like for example, getting the windows up to the second story, getting the windows installed here. What I've realized too is a lot of places where the windows are going in have hooks above them, which is so handy. So I will be getting a couple of those, but in hopes that my stubbornness works today, let's go try this first and see if it works. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Way! Whoa! That's better. Let's try that again. Look, she's almost there. As always, my stubbornness has paid off. And we have success. Who doubted me? I knew I could do it with enough stubbornness. All right, it's in, it is in. The frame is in, and thank goodness it fit. That would have been an absolute disaster. Now I really need to put my welding skills to the test. I'll get these ropes all down, and then I need to get straight in there with the welder, but I also then after that need to cut heaps of flat bar to go around the edges and join this steel angle here to the frame of the second story container. Do I see a doggy? Hello. So lots of welding, lots of cutting, but I really want to get this all nice and secure and welded up today. She is all welded up and looking so solid. So now I have to close this little package up. See how we're still all open to the outside weld? Now I am going to be obviously putting stuff around the outside edge, but I also need to close up this little square as well. That is a lot of welding ahead of me, and I don't have much sun left, but I am loving this. It is so gorgeous. I do need to come get my blower in though and blow all this dirt away before I fully close her up. Phase one of steel flat bar is complete. So I've got steel flat bar going all the way from that container joist to that container joist, and then same down here. And now I'm going to measure along these parts on the sides that I don't have steel flat bar yet, but I'm going to do it from the bottom all the way to that steel flat bar, all the way to that one. And then I'm going to close up those two sides. And that, my friends, is a wrap. Can you believe how gorgeous this hole is? It's got to be the most beautiful hole that I've ever seen. And even though I've just have a whole bunch of sawdust come and blow into my eyes and they are on fire, I could not be more stoked with this outcome. I was just unsure with the whole process. What was I going to find underneath? What was it going to be like cutting through? And was I going to be able to seal it up to make it look gorgeous? And I feel like this is a big success. So I think it's time to grab a beer and crack it to celebrate, because we always need to celebrate the small wins. And I would class this as a bit bigger than a small win for sure. And so much closer to internal work on the containers. As always, thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you next Sunday.